Good morning.
Good morning.
Episode 3.
That's it.
We're rolling.
That's it.
So let's
I got a
talk
good
about
one.
attribution today. This is a fun one. It's particularly fun when you're omnichannel. This is one that I think about a lot. It comes up quite a bit. Sometimes clients dance around it. Others are more direct. It's something that we have kind of a unique view on the way we measure our business. I mean, just coming straight out with it, it's not something that we strongly believe in. We'll go through the reasons why, but it's definitely one that is out there, and that's what we're talking about. It needs to be addressed. So we're going to dig in. Alex, give me your initial thoughts, and then I can respond from there because I definitely have some opinions. I'm guessing they're going to be very similar to yours, but
Well, I hope
we'll let you
so.
kick it off. And we'll go from there.
Yeah, attribution. Boy, oh boy, how do I keep this brief? My initial thoughts for attribution are essentially, I think its heart was in the right direction. I think marketing professionals everywhere just got tired of the "What are you doing for me?" comment and started trying to figure out, or at least deduce the one-to-one, meaning this ad sold this product or this good. The thing is the industry that we work in, and I think just today in general, especially with large purchases, it's not linear. I think we all have accepted that many people are on many different platforms. They're touching 4 or 5 different sources simultaneously. I mean, the amount of tabs open on people's desktops, you're probably listening right now with 50 tabs open. These things are just happening. And so I think it's impossible with specific industries to deduce an ad down to something that ended up selling. In automotive specifically, and I know you're going to have some commentary on this, is it doing more of a disservice when you say, hey, this Facebook ad that we launched out ended up bringing this person in and that's sold and that's our credit? Sure, the opportunity is your credit. I think we need to change the language. The language matters on it. It's opportunity, nothing more. But the men and women who worked hard had to do what they needed to do to get done on the trade, had to take the demo out, how to do the needs assessment, how to do the walk around, had to get it to the desk. The desk had to get the numbers back. They had to go and do a little back and forth dance. All of that. I mean, it's just doing a disservice to it. So in general, I think the heart it's in the right place. In our specific industry, I think it's the golden goose that everyone needs to stop chasing and start realizing that marketing is not linear, but it's not as complex. You just need to be in the places that everyone is. And then the rest of that will follow suit. What are your thoughts?
So,
I know it's similar.
Yeah. I mean, specifically, we're talking about multi-touch attribution if you want to get technical. But the reality of it is, there's so many things that a customer does to buy a car. It's a big purchase, and there's a lot that you don't see. And as we've talked about before with omnichannel, there's a lot that's not clickable. So attribution is going to favor what's clickable, which is typically the last link in the chain, because then you're into, like, I'm raising my hand, I want to buy, this vehicle at this price. Like, I'm looking for deals near me, which means there's demand, which, as we've seen a lot recently, and we already talked about, it's not really there for a lot of brands right now.
Right.
So attribution to me is, there's just too many things that you can't see. There's too many things that are occurring that you don't have a way to measure. So there's a lot of assumptions being made, to the point that I'm like, there's so many assumptions. Is it even valuable? Is it even valuable information? And I'll tell you, from if you take the perspective of, put yourself in the client's shoes, they have every right and deserve to know what their return is. But and I feel that, and we want to give that to them. But
Of
what I
course.
don't want to do is give them information that's not valid. And I tell you, man, I heard it multiple times recently from dealers. They hate when a vendor comes in and tries to take credit for their sales.
Yeah.
It's a bit of a disservice to the hard work that they do. So to your point, we're about driving quality traffic that converts, that doesn't cannibalize organic, right? So it's opportunities. We don't even talk about leads. And from a dealer perspective, we know if we get them that information, if we get them quality traffic so they don't have to wade through a bunch of garbage to get through what's actually something that can convert, then we're doing our job well, and we don't need to take credit for more than that. And we can measure that. And we've also come up with other ways to put all these channels on a level playing field. So we feel pretty good about what we can, quote unquote, take credit for. But, I had one dealer tell me he had like a third party come in and take credit for, twice as many sales as he actually sold in that month. So, to an earlier post I put up, you got to know your client, and you got to be able to show return to them and create value that's based on something that's real and not some analysis that's full of assumptions. To me, it's not worth the paper that it's on.
You know,
So I agree with you. The intent is good, but the delivery stinks. And
well,
so
and
we're looking at it a different way.
I think it's actually tarnished the marketing profession. I think it's made it something transactional, and it's just not. I think everyone's chasing these things, and I think it's made us inherently lazy. And I know that's a bold position to take, but let's really think about this for a second. If I can tell you definitively that this ad sold that car, I don't need to do any additional work. I can show you that report, end of story, end of discussion. You can't come back to me and tell me that I don't know what you did with my money. What's my ROI? What's my ROAS? These terms that we hear a lot. Now, e-commerce, completely different. You're selling hair
Sure.
care, cosmetics. Sure, an ad can sell you a product. I fall for them all the time on Instagram,
Me
right?
too.
Like, I got stuff in the back in the closet,
Yeah.
like. But in the industry that we're in, and in any industry that has a large purchase and a purchase that requires some thinking, it's made us lazy. And the way we approach it, not like we're trying to sell how we approach it, but we're saying essentially it's like if content is out there and we have metrics that are directional, meaning metrics that are going to give us an idea of how these people are engaging when they come to the site, and then we have metrics that will show us how they're converting when they come on the site. All we can say is, hey, look, we've got you in 10 or 11 different places. You know, engagement wise, it's operating at this percent or this ratio. Conversion wise, it's operating this percent, this ratio. Here's where we're at in the market. This is why this matters. Your money's doing the right thing for you. Let's talk about the larger strategy afoot here, is aligning essentially marketing with your business objectives and trying to figure out what's going on in the future, so we know what kind of media buys, what type of things that we need to do in order to help guide these people. That takes work.
Mm-hmm.
And on our side, we know it, right? We talk to clients every week. We've had some clients we've spoken to weekly for 3 years almost. And it's work. Now, if I had attribution, I probably wouldn't have the dark circles and the wrinkle and the gray hair,
Mm-hmm.
right? It would just be smooth. Hey, here's how many deals we sold for you guys. No problem, done. But we don't. So we got to have hard conversations. And marketing is direct and indirect impacts. And I don't think I'll ever come off that. I really don't, especially with privacy and everything else going on in web and web 3.0. And they're all just it's not going to happen.
Yeah, and we should clarify, we're really focused on variable when we're talking about this, because we've put a fair amount of time into fixed. It's a little bit different. Fixed is a little bit easier in terms of measuring attribution, but it's still inaccurate, because there's probably a third of the folks that would have come in anyways. So you can tie it back because of the data. It's a little easier with ROs and things like that, and even the different codes for the type of work that they're getting done. So you can tie it back, but I don't even feel good about it, to be honest with you, because you're almost like taking credit for things that you probably didn't influence. So it's kind of a different problem. So anyway you slice it, attribution's a tough one. And I know on the fixed side, it's more accepted. But I think even the clients know that your numbers are probably overstated. And I frankly don't feel super great about that. So I don't, from our standpoint, we don't do a lot even on the fixed side with it. We show different ways of how we create traffic, how we bring performance, and how we're making a difference, versus doing a straight attribution, even though we could do it.
Do you think it's just this like warm, cozy bed that people want to get into because they feel like they just want to know that their money's doing something? It doesn't even matter if it's accurate. They just want to be able to physically show something to someone else that, hey, the investment I made for you is smart and this is why. Do you think it's something as simple as that? Because I know a lot of companies have put a lot of investment into this, and they're open and honest. They're like, no, this is probability. This isn't exactly what happened, and we're making a lot of guesses. But do you think that it's just this warm, fuzzy bed everyone wants to climb into and just feel secure about their investment?
I think it depends. I think if you're an agency that's mostly focused on Google, then maybe it makes more sense for you. But
Mm-hmm.
for omni-channel like we're doing, it just doesn't make sense. And we've talked about this before. Our goal, like, it's so important to us that everything's database, and it's important to us that it's accurate and that we've tested it and that it's modeled. For us, like that doesn't cut our fee to get in. You know what I mean? Like it's not it's not strong enough of a proposition for us to want to take that to a dealer. It's just not how we operate. I'm not saying that it cannot work for someone else. It's just not how we look at the world. Um, I just wouldn't feel good about it, and I know you wouldn't either.
No, and it's just, I think everyone understands that there's something going on in the background. I think it's generally accepted that something's going on other than just what directly that you see, this last click attribution, which favors Google. Listen, again, no axe to grind with Google, but it is what it is. Like, people go to search right before they end up doing something, and they've been capitalizing on that for years. Kudos to you and your shareholders. It's solid. But to us, there's all sorts of different things that are going on. There's word of mouth, there's referral, there's social channels, they're watching TV and they see an ad for it, and then they go onto social, then they go onto Pinterest, then they go onto the website. I mean, it's just an amalgam of things. All we know is that this individual is in market to buy a car, or this individual is in market to buy whatever product it is that you're selling, and that we can target that individual and we can find out what they're doing, based on a few different metrics that you can combine to say, okay, directionally, this is actually looking pretty promising. And then you just stick with it. So
Yeah.
It's tough. It really is. It's such a hard conversation to have, because if we had this definitive proof, I don't know if us as a company would ever lose clients because of the way we do things.
No. And you think about, it's like we had a conversation yesterday with a partner, and we started talking about, I'll call it like the golden record, like some unified ID, and, what we could do to execute, because there's not a lot of folks that can execute with tons of data.
Mm-hmm.
They're just not capable to do it. And the dealers want that, and the dealers are struggling. We've talked about CDPs and things like that. So there's a lot of ways to slice things, but can you execute? And I think we're one of the few that actually can. So we had some interesting discussions about that. But in those discussions, we were really kicking around, like, even if you have that unified ID, like how much can you actually get to some form of attribution? You're still dealing with assumptions, even in that case. So for us, I just don't think it makes a lot of sense. And look, we've delivered performance for going on 4 years, and I'm not trying to sit here and pat ourselves on the back. We've worked really hard to be able to do that.
We should.
And we don't have any complaints from clients based on what we show them for performance on a weekly basis. I think the way we've come up with it's a little bit different, and we're happy to share that with folks. I mean, reach out to us. We'll walk you through what we do. We've got a 50-page reporting packet, so we've got a lot of different ways to look at things. But the end result is, we have to show what we're comfortable showing, and a bunch of assumptions just is not going to cut it.
Yeah, well said. I mean, we could talk about this for hours and hours and hours, but
yeah. This is probably a quicker one than some of the other times.
100%. But
we feel so strongly about it.
I mean, viewpoint, right? Here it is. This is how we feel. Hopefully you guys believe the same thing. I think that's going to wrap it up for us. Episode 3, Attribution. David Ramanick, Alex Montevosian from Prophecy Digital, giving you our thoughts on marketing as a whole and attribution in the industry. That's it from us.
Yep. Hope everyone has a great close to the week, and we'll be back with more in future episodes. Thanks.
Cheers all.